Hello, this is Pete from Waylay, and in this video I will show you a nice new feature of the Waylay platform that is called conditional execution of sensors and actuators. So you may have a use case in which you want a sensor to be executed only when a condition gets fulfilled. For example, you may be waiting for an error code of a particular machine before you fetch some data from a database. So let me show you how you can do that within the Waylay platform. So I'll open up the designer. And as usual, I will use the dye sensor as an example. So now I'm going to express that dye sensor 2 should be executed only when a conditional dye sensor 1 gets fulfilled. So I'll connect dye sensor 1 to dye sensor 2. And now on the right hand side, I could, for example, express that dye sensor 2 should only be executed if dye sensor 1 equals 2. Or I could, for example, express that dye sensor 2 should be executed when dye sensor 1 goes from state 2 to state 1. Or more generally, I could express that dye sensor 2 should be executed whenever dye sensor 1 goes from any state different from 1 to state number 1. And I have something similar now for actuators. So if I drag and drop an alarm dialog, I could connect it here, and I could equally well, for example, express that whenever the state changes to 6, then the debug dialog should display hello. Okay, so let's open up the debugger and put the frequency here to 2 seconds, and let's start the debugger. So I see that at the first tick, my dye sensor already equaled 1, so my dye sensor 2 got executed. I also see here that I got a 6, so I see the alarm dialog appearing. And what I also see here is dye sensor 2 state remains 4, because dye sensor 1 only triggered once, and so dye sensor 2 does not get executed anymore in the subsequent ticks. It will only get executed again when dye sensor 1 equals 1 again. So here you see this happening, so dye sensor 2 got executed again. And in this way you can build conditional executions of sensors and actuators. And I think you may find this useful when building logic for some of your use cases. So this ends this video, and I hope you can start using this new feature of the Waylay platform.